Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is another week in review. Game news, the videos of the week, what I played, all the usual stuff. But first, this particular video is sponsored by BackerKit, where if you head on over to Final Girl currently on Kickstarter, it's the highest funded solo campaign of all time as of right now, which is amazing. It's insane. A Dice Tower Seal of Excellence, over 7,000 backers, a ton of content for your game to expand to the Season 1, boxes, upgrades, all kinds of stuff to fit nicely into your Calyx cubby. And if you do, make sure to head onto the link down below and use the link in the description, because that's how they know that I sent you, as opposed to not knowing. And if they know, that helps me. I don't get a commission, but it tells them that I have value, which is good. For me it's good. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the week in review. The week in review starting off with the fact that we have news. Going Analog, the board game quiz show, which I generally love in general. I've talked with them a lot. They started their newest Season 3, Couples Edition. They had a couple over, they had 1 Minute Board Games, I believe they're called. I don't remember the names, I'm sorry, but they had them on the show, and they did, their new version of Season 3. So if you want to check out Going Analog's quiz show, which I always like, check that out in the links down below. Everything I talk about today will have links in the description down below. From there we have, speaking of quiz shows, I was on Side Game LLC. Side Game LLC, who I've done a video with in the past, he does his own little quiz show, talking about trying to guess games based on 1 and 10-star reviews, quick and to the point, plus discussions around the games as well. And so if you want to check that out, seeing how well I fare on guessing 5 games, as well as whether my opinion is aligned with the 1 or the 10-star or somewhere in the middle, you can check that out. Additionally, I should have talked about this last week, I just didn't know it was going up in time. We have more Marvel Zombies gameplay. If you missed it, you can head over to Quackle's channel. There was the first video I talked about 2 weeks ago, where we basically were playing as the zombies. We're playing as the zombie heroes and taking out all the shield agents. And then there's a new gameplay of the Professor X of the X-Men, whatever it's called. They have that version where you're playing as the heroes against the zombies. So if you want to check that out. And by the way, that gameplay to me was more fun. Not just because I didn't open up all the doors, but it was more fun to me, that gameplay. And additionally, I prefer playing as the heroes in Marvel Zombies. I'll talk about it more before the campaign ends, going into the whys of what I liked more about the heroes, but I actually thought, and I'm totally fine with playing as the zombies for context, it's not that I have a problem with it, I just found the gameplay mechanisms to be more rewarding as a hero, while I do enjoy both. Very much enjoy both, but definitely prefer playing as heroes. From there we have Pandemic. Pandemic was taken off all the online platforms. If you already bought Pandemic, if you purchased Pandemic on Steam or whatever platform name, then yes, you still have your copy, you're fine, you're good to go. But if you haven't bought Pandemic, Asmodee took Pandemic off all the platforms. Not all their games, just the Pandemic versions of their games. Which lends itself to a question of why. Because I don't think they publicly said any answer yet, at least not yet. Which means there's basically one of 3 potential reasons that I can think of. And then of course the giant 4th reason of the unknown. Reason 1 is because they're worried about bad PR, about having a game called Pandemic on their platform. It seems like a bad idea. Pandemic has actually been selling better as a result of the pandemic, not worse. More association, more knowledge, more whatever, just more searching for it or something, I don't know. But it could be. You never really know what's going to trigger a degree of, well, what will people think, or this is bad for our brand, who really knows? So it's a possibility, but I don't think that's the reason. Possibility number 2 is that there's some sort of licensing issues with the creator. Maybe there was some issue with, selling it online, didn't fall into the license, in the domain. I don't know, but it could be some sort of conflicting licensing or rights issue. The reason I think is most likely is reason number 3. What I think is most likely is that they're trying to take the giant Pandemic system of games and wrapping it into its own separate platform in some way, shape, or form. I just think that's the most likely because the other reasons just don't line up. So even though this reason isn't the best either, I just don't see the other reasons as being better options. So we'll see. Time will tell. If it just never shows up again, then we know that it was probably 1 or 2, or again, the giant option 4. But in case you wanted to buy Pandemic on Steam or anywhere else online, you currently cannot. At least as of right now, and we'll see how that goes. From there, Board Game Ramblings. Board Game Ramblings started their top 100, if you want to check that out. And then also Iello. Iello, who recently I talked about a few weeks ago, maybe a month or 2 ago. Iello kind of severed their ties with Iello USA. And they just announced that they have an exclusive agreement with Flat River Group to distribute their games in the US. So Iello games are back on US shelves or whatever, just instead of going through Iello USA, which was like a separate but linked partnership or something, they're instead going through Flat River Group. Still don't know the background or the details or the drama. There may be no drama. It might just be a simple financial decision around how things work. I don't know. I'm just telling you what's happening now. As far as game news, Game news is very light this week. We have only 2 pieces of game news, or at least I only have 2 pieces of game news. The good news is that one of those is very exciting. The other one's okay. I guess it depends on who you are. They're both exciting depending on who you are. The first one, the one I'm less excited about personally, is Undaunted Stalingrad. That's going to be the newest version of the Undaunted series. If you love Undaunted, that's excellent and very exciting. Why am I not excited about that? Because I actually think that Undaunted is a great game, and the answer is because I have the newest the Undaunted South Africa, North Africa, something. I have the newest, whatever the newest Undaunted is before Stalingrad. I still haven't played it. I have it. It's on my shelf over here somewhere on this side. So because I haven't played the one that I have already, I'm less excited about the Stalingrad one. That said, if I actually dive back into Undaunted anytime soon, then I'll be very excited about it. The one that I'm more excited about is a game from Garphill Games. And if you know me, if you've watched my videos or enough of my videos, then you know that I already have a bit of a mixed relationship with Garphill Games. I love Hadrian's Wall, and I want to like all their other games, but practically speaking, all their other games, at least the ones that I've played, I have enjoyed, but not loved. I haven't kept them. I still have Viscounts, I want to try that one, but all the popular games, Paladins, Architects, Raiders, all those, Raiders of Scythia as well, I've liked them, and then not kept them because they weren't compelling enough to me, despite the fact that 3 of them are in the top 100, so they're clearly doing something right. It's just somehow, somewhy, it's not working for me, despite trying fairly hard. Like, I've played all of those games multiple times. It's not like a one-time play thing. All of those games multiple times to try to get them myself to like them. So, but this one, though, I am very excited about. Why? No, I don't know why. I don't know why. I like the art in their games. I think that they make amazing games, but let's talk about it. Legacy of You. Legacy of You from Garphill Games is going to be a solo campaign-esque kind of game. I can't remember the exact count of games. I think it's 7 games, with the game modulating its difficulty depending on how well you're doing, and then resettable. Not Legacy, it's more campaign. And it's a solo game. Complete solo. I think it's the first Garphill Games game designed specifically and only for solo play. I'm excited about that. The art looks great. The idea of in Hadrian's Wall, they completely won me over, so I'm very curious. We'll see. But Legacy of You from Garphill Games, in case you're interested in their first solo-only game, that will be it. Which brings us to the topic of the week. Topic of the week this week is specifically going to be giving you my top games of 2021. Okay, my top 10 games of 2021 is going to be the topic of this week, primarily because last Sunday I was reviewing all the 2021 games on the channel. And I just thought, like, I don't officially do a top 10 right now because, in theory, I like waiting till further into 2022 so I can play a bunch of the games that I haven't had a chance to play yet. But I went through in that video, and we'll talk about it more when we get to the videos of the week. But in that video, I looked over I looked over 400 games or so from 2021. And then I popped open tabs for like 95 other games that I hadn't actually played yet that I need to get my hands on or add to my list or whatever it was. From those 95, after the fact, I weeded them down to around another 60 or so that I still have to get played. Have to is a relative term. I'm not going to get all 60 played. But by the time we get halfway through 2022, I might get another 20, 25, 30 of them played. At which point, then I can do a fairly proper, more accurate best of 2021 list. That said, I was excited enough about the games that I do love that I want to talk about it here. So, in not that much thought given, enough thought that I ranked them and ordered them and all that stuff, but like maybe I'll change my mind. But this is the ranking of my favorite games from 2021. Now, it's worth noting, some of these may well be out of order compared to my top 100. And the reason for that is because I put a little bit more thought and weight into my top 100, meaning a game that I've played a few times versus a game I've played, well, more times. I do try to be more cognizant of how many games I've played before bumping up the ranks in the top 100 of all time. Versus for this list, because it's specifically addressing new games, I put very little thought or care into it. I kind of just went with instinctive answers right off the bat. And with that, starting off the bat, number 10 is Maglev Metro. Maglev Metro is going to be my 10th favorite game from 2021 from the 40 or 50 that I've played already. There were a lot that were solid contenders. I managed to reduce the ones I played down to around 20 that I had to weed down to further, get this list, which means it's going to be even harder when I add another 20, 30 games that I played. But anyways, we have Maglev Metro at number 10. We have Radlands at number 9. Radlands from Rocksteady Games coming in number 9. Really enjoying that one. Head-to-head two-player experience. Very fast, very punchy. I don't know how it holds up over time. I could see the variability being a problem, but for right now, really enjoying it. At number 8, we have Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed, a game that will not be in my collection next year. Almost guaranteed. Primarily because it's a legacy. It's not legacy. It's campaign. It's a campaign game. You play stickers, but the stickers go on the rulebook at the back. It's not really relevant. But Assassin's Creed is an excellent game system that I will either continue to play through it or not. I already have like 15, 20 plays into my belt, but it's one that because of the fact that it's a campaign, I will not keep it. I will not be diving into it again. I think it's excellent at what it's doing. I'm just not going to go into it again once I'm done. At least I don't think so. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll change my mind. For right now, I anticipate it leaving at some point, but as of right now, my 8th favorite game of 2021. From Assassin's Creed, we have Destinies coming in number 7. Destinies is one that will continue to rise. I just need to continue playing it. I played it a bunch when I first got it, and it hasn't really hit the table since. I anticipate it going up the more I continue to play it. I just need to dive back into it again. Coming in number 6, we have Ankh. Ankh, Gods of Egypt from Kemet, one that I really enjoy, think it's really solid, but my excitement around it is also a little lower than some other games, just because of the fact that it's fighting in an area, in a genre, in which I have Blood Rage, Inish, Cyclades, all these other games, and so I love Ankh. Solid game, gave it a 4.5, but it's definitely a little bit lower, at least until it gets a little higher in my rankings. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's not leaving my collection anytime soon, but yeah, that's my number 6. Number 5 is the Great Wall from Awakened Realms, behind my head over here. That's not a Great Wall. Nope. Over here, that's the one. The Great Wall from Awakened Realms is my number 5. Really enjoy that one. I like the solo and co-op as well, but it's not my preferred player mode, which means I think I'll never actually play it again, solo or co-op. Maybe I would. I don't anticipate it. It's too long. As a solo experience, I'm more likely to pull out Marvel Champions, Too Many Bones, or Spirit Island, or any one of a bunch of other Mage Knight. So it's a good solo experience. But for me, I'm primarily going to play it multiplayer, but really good game. I might actually, maybe I should join the games on the table. It might be a game that I play this week. We'll see. We'll talk about it more at the end when we talk about the games on the table. Coming at number 4, we have Hadrian's Wall, which I mentioned already in this video. Hadrian's Wall, and this is where accessibility is key, because accessibility often has me ranking games higher than other games. It's not necessarily that the experience is better, but if I'm more likely to play it, then I have to rank it higher just because it's less barriers to entry. Because obviously this is my list, my top 100. It's based on the fact that, what I value, and one of the things I value is how easy it is to get a game to the table. Hadrian's Wall is phenomenal, my favorite roll and write of all time as of right now. That's my number 4. Coming in number 3, we have Wild Descent. Wild Descent from Lazy Squad Games, which is not accessible. That's a campaign game, although 10 games per game, so a more accessible campaign game, but one that I like it enough that even though it's not accessible, it still gets enough points for being just fun that it's my number 3 game of 2021, and my favorite solo game of 2021. Coming in number 2, we have Cascadia. Cascadia from blanking on the name. Cascadia from Flat Out Games. Flat Out Games, Cascadia, it's the 3rd game, or it's the 2nd game in their trilogy or whatever. They have Calico, Cascadia, and Verdant, but Cascadia is easily my favorite of the series. When I first ranked them all, I think they were all 4s to me, but different degrees of how much I like them, and even then Cascadia I think was my favorite, but the more I've played it, the more Cascadia has distanced itself from the pack, and it is easily my favorite. It's a solid game. It's grown to a 5 out of 5 for me. It is such a good experience. I love Cascadia. Number 2 is number 2. Number 1 is Mind MGMT. Mind MGMT is my favorite game of 2021. It is a ridiculously good experience. It plays in half an hour to 45 minutes, and it gives us such a tense back and forth. Both sides I love playing, guys. Mind MGMT is easily my favorite game of 2021 as of now, and I don't know for sure, but I expect that one is the most likely to hold its position from all the other games, even once I properly do this list in a dedicated video, in half a year from now. And that's my topic of the week, just 2021 games, and I'm going to continue down this journey of trying to find more of them and seeing which ones last, which ones do not, but either way, they're all a ton of fun. Which brings us to what I played, the week in review, what I played. Starting off, let's see what I logged as usual. I always forget to log things. Starting off with, we have a bunch of games this week. This is fun. Okay, so we have Vagrant Song. Vagrant Song last week. We have Capital Lux 2. We have Lorenzo El Magnifico. Got in a play of Lorenzo El Magnifico without the expansion. This was without the expansion. I have more plays coming soon. We have Pandemic Legacy Season 0. We're continuing through that. This was Game 2. I think we have a Game 3 in so far, but we're still taking our time, so we'll see what happens. Got a play of Gorus Maximus. Gorus Maximus is a fun little trick-taking game from the same people who made Summit, the mountain climbing game, but I can't remember the name. But either way, Gorus Maximus is a trick-taking game of gladiatorial combat in theory and theme, or whatever it is. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. Happy to play it. It wasn't my copy, so I'm not gonna review it, or you're not gonna see it leaving the collection. It was a game that I enjoyed, and I'm happy to play, but not one that I need to own. We have Motor City. Gotten a play of Motor City. That's gonna be the newest roll and write coming from Motor City Games. They're the ones who made Three Sisters, same designers as Fleet the Dice game. We'll talk about it more because that one will be getting a dedicated review. We have 10 from AEG, gotten a bunch of plays of 10. 10 from AEG is their newest Push Your Luck bidding game. Push Your Luck bidding and set collection. We'll talk about it more in a review. We have the Quest of Eldorado. I had my games on the table last week. I told you that I was going to be pulling it out and playing it with Jesse, with Quacklo, because he'd never played it. And he played it. I think he liked it. I didn't really have a full post-game discussion. I really need to read the rules for the expansions. I have both the expansions. I've never played with them. I need to read the rules and incorporate those as soon as I can. We have Food Chain Magnet. Gotten a great play of Food Chain Magnet. Always a fun experience. We have Cockroach Royal, Cockroach Poker Royal, or Cockroach Royal. This is the version of Cockroach Poker we prefer. Gotten 5-6 plays of it. It's one of those games that we actually haven't played in a few months, but it's one of our regular post-game night games that we'll sit up and play for another hour after being done playing games. Gotten a play of Garinto. Garinto is a game I've had a few plays already, but I specifically wanted to get a team play in before I do a review. There'll be a review coming up this week on it, specifically because I want to get some team games in first, because I've heard from the publisher that is one of his favorite ways to play the game. So I want to see how it holds up. Well, I won't tell you that much about the review, but I will say the team mode is my favorite way of playing the game. Got another play of Lorenzo and Magnifico with the expansion. You can expect to see a review of that and the expansion coming at some point. Some of you eagle-eyed people who remember games leaving my collection might remember that Lorenzo and Magnifico actually left my collection at one point. But I got it back to play it with the expansion because I heard good things about the expansion, and we'll talk about it more in the review. Mantis Falls. I got a play of Mantis Falls. I liked what Mantis Falls was doing. Not my copy, it's a Quacklop's copy. I liked what it was doing, while also not being... here's the problem. I really liked what Mantis Falls does. Basically, it's a two-player game in which you're going on this pathway, and one of you may or may not be the assassin. So you might be good working through this together, or it might be that one of you is bad, and you don't necessarily know that. I mean, if you're the assassin, you know the assassin, but the other player, if I'm good, you might be good, you might not be good. And so we're trying to make our way along the path, but you might be trying to murder me. I really like the concept, and I really like the second half of the execution. I found the first half of the game too slow-paced to be a game that I want to dive into a lot. Mantis Falls is a game that it's like a 45-minute long experience, and I really like the last 15 minutes. The first 30 minutes is just slower than it needs to be. It does do a good job building tension, so I don't know if you can easily fix that. If you remove the first 30 minutes, then you have the same game without the tension. So I don't have an easy solution, but it was too long for the delivery and the experience it gave me. Small Islands. Got a few plays of Small Islands for Lucky Duck Games. I'm going to be getting some more plays in and then doing a review at some point. We have Bunny Kingdom. Bunny Kingdom is a regular. It's one of my wife's favorite games to pull out and play, and, well, Bunny Kingdom, we got another play of it in, always with the expansion. We have Suspects. Got in a few plays. Well, 1, 2, 3. I mean, we'll get to them all. I got in 3 plays of Suspects. 3 plays because Suspects is a investigative game in the genre of Unlock, of escape rooms, of Chronicles of Crime, all that stuff. But Suspects is from Studio H. I will have a review coming. I played all 3 cases, and that's all I could play, because once you know the answer, you can't play it again, so it does have that aspect. I got in a play of Bandito. Another play of Bandito. I got in 2 plays of Bandito. Bandito is a small little... I actually have it over here, just off to the side. Bandito. I'll cover these at some point in a roundup review. It's not going to get a dedicated review, but this is actually from Helvetique, and I really enjoyed it. Really, very solidly compelling. We'll talk about it more in a dedicated roundup at some point. Gotten a play of... Ooh, I'm not allowed to tell you that one. No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just debating how much of an issue it is. I'm not going to say anything. We'll talk about it in the future. Okay, got in a play of the Night Cage. Got another play of Night Cage. Night Cage is an interesting one. Night Cage is a game that I got in a few plays of a while ago, but I wanted to dive into it solo before doing the review. And we'll talk about it more in the review, but I want to get a few solo plays in because of my experience with 4 players. This much I'll say. I didn't love playing the Night Cage with 4 players. So since then I've gotten in 2-player games and solo games, and we'll talk about it more in the review, but I'll just say I didn't like it at 4 players. We have Pandemic Legacy Season 0. That was Game 3. We'll be continuously diving into it. No spoilers. Awkward Guests. Gotten a bunch of plays of Awkward Guests. I got in 2 plays over here with a group, and then I got in another play the next day solo. Awkward Guests is a deduction game from... What's the name of the company? It's from Megacorpin Games. I can see it on the shelf at the side of me. But Awkward Guess it's a deduction game. I'll have a review of it, so I'm not going to talk about it that much now. But I do want to get in a few more plays first, but then we will at some point talk about it. We have Bandito. Another play of Bandito with my daughter. Got in another play of Suspects. That was the 3rd play of Suspects. Then we got in a play... I didn't log? Oh, no, then we have Hans of Teutonica. I was like, I'm trying to find this game. Hans of Teutonica, I got in a play of this one. It's been a long time. I had this a while ago. I got it back when they had the big box. It's a game that I will be covering in a review, so I will not heavily talk about it now, although the fact that it's on the table should tell you plenty, because on the table games are the games I'm trying to play this week. And then past that, I got another play of Vagrant Song, like I told you last week. I'm in the middle of going through the whole I'm still going through the whole experience. I don't know how far I need to get before I do a review. It's not going to be all the plays, but it needs to be more plays. Cause I like discovering and unlocking more stuff than you have campaign games before covering a review. So, and that's like, I'm already up to like plays 5, I think. I think this is my 5th play today. Just today is when I had it. I think today is my 5th or 6th play. Either way, it's hard to remember exactly because I know I played the first scenario like 3 times, so I can't remember exactly. Either way, let's go ahead and and then one more. I played Catacombs of Karak. Catacombs of Karak, which is a kid-friendly dungeon crawling experience. We'll talk about that at some point. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to do a play this, not that, with Catacombs of Karak and Core Quest, but with my kids having the opinions and me just running the show. So we'll see what happens there. In any case, let's go ahead and go into the videos of the week. Videos of the week, starting off with Saturday. Last Saturday, we had a review for Micro Dojo. Micro Dojo is a fairly good game considering the price point and size. It gives you a lot of tactical back and forth. At the same time, I give it a 3 out of 5 because while it gives you a lot of gameplay for the size and whatever factor, at the same time, it's a lighter game. Not lighter. It's actually not lighter. There's less decision space around the game than I would like. So I like the concept, but it's meant to be a smaller kind of like think the Tiny Epic series, which also has not worked for me for the same reasons because I often feel they're compromising on what the game can do in order to give you a smaller footprint and smaller price point. Then from there on Saturday we had Kemet Blood and Sand, which is a favorite. I'm slowly going through all my top games because I mean I still don't have reviews for games like Blood Rage or Castle of Burgundy or Terraforming Mars. I still don't have reviews for a lot of my favorites, and I think that if I'm going to keep telling you every year that this game is in my top 10, I think my top 10 should all have a review in some way, shape, or form. So one of my New Year's resolutions is to make my way through my top 10 and review every single game in my top 10 that I have not reviewed. Top 100 is a bit ambitious. You know, it'll take time. Maybe we'll get to it, maybe not. But either way, point is that I did a review for Kemet Blood and Sand, which is the last game in the quadrilogy now that I hadn't reviewed until now, and it's a 5 out of 5. Love it. Absolutely amazing game. You can check out the review for more, but I love the game. Then from there on Sunday I had a live video reviewing the 2021 games. Basically, 5,000 games came out in 2021. I filtered them down to like 400 by basically applying, anything above a 6.8 rating with at least 100 ratings. I filtered it down to around 400 and then went through the list on camera, on video, whatever it is, responding to comments, engaging, all of that stuff. On Monday, we had the first 2 back or not to back in a while. I was so excited. It's been way too long. We had the first 2 back or not to back in a while. A lot of games, not actually a lot that I'm backing. Marvel Zombies launched later that week, so that doesn't count. There's Rise of the Necromancer, which I'm still tempted by. There's, what was I backing? Sky Tier Horde. Sky Tier Horde is one that I'm backing. Sky Tier Horde. I keep hearing I'm pronouncing it wrong. I need to look up what the pronunciation is, but Sky Tier Horde or Sky Tier Horde, whatever it is, that game, I have that one. And then there's another one. Final Girl's up, but I'm not backing Final Girl because I already have more than enough content to go through it, and I liked it, but I didn't love it enough to double down and triple down on all the content. So I'm fine with what I have for right now. I don't know, I'll take a look. I'll take a look and see. But either way, that was the first 2 back or not to back in a while. I think I'm backing 3 games in that video. I just don't remember what the 3 games are. On Tuesday we had The Crew. We had a review for The Crew. That was either a 4 or a 4.5, depending on the new one or the old one. The original Crew is a 4 to 5 for me. Really enjoy it, but with the caveat that it's not as variable as I would like. The new The Crew is better than the old The Crew. The new The Crew, Mission Deep Sea, gives you more variability in the game and bumps it up to a 4.5 for me. Really, really enjoy it. Solid cooperative trick-taking experience. Then later on Tuesday, we had a review for Wrath of the Lich King, Pandemic World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King. Did a review of that one. That was a 3 out of 5 for me. Not one I'm keeping. It was good. I enjoyed my time with it, but I also don't need to keep playing it. I didn't love it as much as other Pandemic system games. Then lastly on Tuesday, we had a review of The Key from Haba Games. I did a review with my daughter, with Ricky. We covered 2 of the key games we have because we only have 2 of them. I need to get the other ones as well, but I enjoy them. They are logical deduction games that I really enjoy. I gave them a 4 to 5. Really, really solid, although with the caveat that it is a little lighter in its focus, but I still think that, I would happily sit down and play them with my game group. I really enjoy them. They're a lot of fun. Then from there on Wednesday we had Marvel Zombies. Should you back it? Marvel Zombies launched on Tuesday, rapidly hit $3 million, and then all the drama started. We have another video that went up on Friday. We'll talk about that as well. But there's always drama and excitement and complaints around Command campaigns. I think they bring out the worst in people because their model inherently incentivizes people who want the most. they build communities around people who are like looking for every last stretch goal, every last unlock. And I'm one of those people, do not get me wrong. But I also understand the way the sequencing works. If a command campaign isn't offering me enough of a reason to back it, I'll walk away. I haven't backed a lot of the smaller campaigns that give you like less stuff, like, I don't know, Zombicide Night of the Living Dead. I don't back those because I'm not incentivized enough by what they're offering. I don't care enough to comment on it, I just don't back them. But most of their bigger campaigns give you plenty of reason to back it. They manage to be one of the best values in terms of being able to like turn around and sell the game or keep it or the amount of stuff you get. But people always want more, and there's a lot of complaints around it. That's all a tangent to the fact that Wednesday was my Should You Back It video. Short version is it's going to hold its value. That's absolutely clear. Whether or not it's worth it to you personally is always a personal choice. I can tell you that a game is a safe bet that it'll hold its value. I can tell you that. I can't tell you whether if you like it, is it still worth $130 or $240 or $410? And that's before we have all the unlocks and everything else that they're going to reveal, the optional buys. I mean, this is a game you can probably end up spending $800, $900 on once you factor in shipping, and that's not even counting VAT. You have to decide if that's worth it to you. That's the you problem. Will it hold its value? Yeah, it will. Then on Thursday we had top 100 statistics, going over the top 100, the 10 videos I did on the top 100, just going over the various changes, additions, upgrades, biggest drops, biggest everything, just if you want to know more information about the top 100 and things around it. If you want to know the 31 games that dropped out of the top 100, or the 4 games that dropped out of my top 10, if you want all that summarized, well, that's all summarized in that video over there. Then, what else do we have? Friday was, speaking of which, Friday we had that video, which I told you about, stretch goals. Just a video talking about stretch goals, the nature of them, the purpose they serve, how they work, why they are the way they are, and why they're constantly frustrating. I probably should have spent some time talking about why more and more people are turning towards daily unlocks. Part of the reason is the frustration around stretch goals. I spent a little time talking about Command in particular in that sense, but yeah, it was talking about the Command Marvel Zombies, and then it was talking about stretch goals with the framework of Marvel Zombies and the frustration around that in that video. Then lastly, we have today. Today we have 2 reviews going up. We're going to have a review for Mutants from Lucky Duck Games, and then we're going to have a gameplay, so not 2 reviews, a review and a gameplay. We'll have a gameplay of Ultra from Studio H going up. So those will both be going up today at various points, which brings us to next week. Next week we'll have a few things. We will have another 2 back and not to back, unless something changes, and then on Sunday. Tomorrow we will have my 1,000th video on the channel. Tomorrow's going to be my 1,000th video on the channel, and I do a little fun little thing with it. Probably a waste of time, but it's funny. I mean, the question is, what can you do for your 1,000th video? What can you do? That's a lot of videos. What can you possibly do? And the answer will surprise you. No, but seriously, check it out. Going up tomorrow, we'll have my 1,000th video on the channel. And then lastly, we have the games on the table. The games that I hope to be playing this week. I think I can get all 4 of these played. We'll see. Some weeks, I usually walk into these expecting 50% of them. I might not get Hans Tonica. This is ambitious. I want to get it, but we'll see what happens. Let's talk about them. We have Hans Tonica, gotten to play this week, really enjoyed it. I had it a long time ago, really enjoyed it, and the people who played it really enjoyed it, so I hope we can get another play in this week. We have Trekking the World. This one is one I have not played. In fact, from the games on the table, this is the only one I have not played yet, but I did read the rules for it already. They're going to have Trekking Through History coming soon on Kickstarter, so I wanted to break this out, give it a shot, see if this one works for me. I am expecting a lighter game. Lighter doesn't mean bad, but lighter just means lighter, so I will see how this one holds up for me and whether it's appealing or not, or how appealing and not. Then we have Into Deep. I hope you'll be playing this one. This is me the first time playing the production copy. I've played the original game, the original Kickstarter, 5-6 times, but this one will be the first time playing the final production copy of the game, so I'm excited for that. And then lastly, we have Ultra, which is a game that I've already gone through like 4 or 5 times, but I want to continue going through the various Chronicles they've had. And some of the Chronicles I've replayed, so I have not yet had a chance to try and play all the Chronicles. So I hope to dive into that as well. And that is your Week in Review. Thanks, as always, for sticking with me, for making it to the end and all of that. There's going to be a bunch of stuff next week, including finding out, I mean, by the time you watch this, Marvel Zombies probably unveiled their first optional buy on Friday. They generally do that for their first campaigns. They have the first one popping up on Friday. I'm curious what it is. Do we see Guardians of the Galaxy, Fantastic Four, something completely different? A giant, something next to the World Eater, next to Galactus? I have no idea what's there, but by now, you probably know. In fact, speaking of which, I probably should have put this in the news stuff, but come on Friday, it's too late for you. You missed it already, but you can watch the post thingy. They had their usual news recap, talking Marvel Zombies. They basically do a Friday newscast. You can check that out if you want to see that as well. In any case, and as always, I hope you enjoy your weekend. I will certainly be enjoying mine. I have Jeremy Howard coming and visiting, which is why these 2 games are on our agenda, and I know he wanted to play The Great Wall, which is why I'm hoping to get that played as well, so we'll see what happens. Lots of games, never enough time. Once again, have a great weekend, and as always, have a good one.